Welcome to the Lead Pedal Podcast with your host, Bruce Outridge, where he talks all things trucking. Now let's get rolling.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? Welcome to another edition of the Lead Pedal Podcast. I'm your host, Bruce Outridge. Today, we're going to be talking about the Changemaker Award. If you've never heard of this award, that's because it is brand new this year, and we want to make sure that you know all about it. But before we get to that, let me tell you a little bit about Bison Transport. They're changemakers as well. In fact, they got their Right to Decide program, which at this time of year is critical to anybody. In fact, it's good all year. You can use it for if you're not feeling well, weather-related issue, whatever. But in this year, it gives the drivers the right to shut down whenever they want. This is crucial to making sure that you have drivers that are safe, that are in control of when they need to stop. And that's probably why a lot of them are getting their safety bonuses. They're doing really well. So if you'd like to work for a company like that, then bisondriving.com is where you need to really get into that and check it out for sure. Tell them we sent you. All right, let's get into our show for today. Now, today, we're going to be talking about a Changemaker Award. If you've never heard of this Changemaker Award, this is from the Women's Trucking Federation of Canada, the lady truck. They just did their Bridging the Barriers event. They do a mentorship award. They do, industries award. But this one is a new Changemaker Award, which they're starting. And when Shelley Walker first approached me about it, I was in right away. I thought it was a great award. It's in memory of somebody that passed away not too long ago, Joanne McKenzie. She was instrumental. She was part of WTFC. She was also, changing the industry. She was the leader for Trucking for a Cure. And over her 10 years working with Trucking for a Cure, she brought the industry together. She promoted women in the industry, and she did a great job of, bringing awareness to breast cancer and other cancers as well. And so that was the inspiration for the award. She passed away last year. She was, if you've ever been to the Big Rigs Truck Show, you knew all about her. But she was really instrumental in helping, in changing a lot of the way women are perceived in the industry, which is a great thing. So Shelley calls me up and she says, you know what, Bruce, we're thinking of doing this Changemaker Award. What do you think? How do you think it should work? And so I was talking to her, and she said the first one is going to be in memory of Joanne McKenzie. And I said, great. I've been a long supporter of Trucking for a Cure and good friend of Joanne's for the 10 years or more that we were in there. In fact, I met Joanne before she actually took over Trucking for a Cure when it was by another organizer. And we got along famously, and we argued famously, just like it's like a second wife. Anyway, we had some really great memories over the years. She did some really good work. We were involved. I think we might have missed 1 year, but we were involved the whole time. We've always promoted her on the podcast and done those kind of things. It's going to live on with somebody else, and if you haven't heard about that, then go back to our Big Rigs recap where we talked about that. But we are excited. So she said, we're looking for a sponsor for that award. So I put up my hand right away and I said, we're in. I said, it wasn't part of our plans this year, but I thought being the first one, and because it was of Joanne, it was important. So the way this works is the Changemaker Award is going to go to somebody who has done really well in the industry and, changed things for the good and made it better. The recipient is going to choose the charity that they want the funds to go to. So whoever sponsors it is not going to be the one where the funds go to that. It's going to, I don't think so anyway, unless they've changed maybe the way we were talking earlier. The idea was that whoever won the award, the money would go to a charity of their choice. Being the first one, I think we just picked Trucking for a Cure because that was the inspirational one. We were the ones who donated the money to Trucking for a Cure. So I guess the winner this year has donated to Trucking for a Cure, although they probably might have had another choice had they known that. But it was a really great event. So this was the first year for it. They rolled it out at Bridging the Barriers. And before I tell you who won, I think maybe we should just play the presentation and let it go that way, and then we'll come back and tell you all about it. I think that's the best way to do this for sure. Hey, before I tell you about, before we go to that presentation about the Changemaker Award, let me tell you a little bit about a school who is always supporting the industry, and that's Ontario Truck Driving School. They're one of our sponsors. As you know, they've been around since 1978. They have 9 locations throughout Ontario, and they have some of the best programs going in the industry. So that is you. The Ontario Truck Driving School is where you want to go. Go to OTDS.com to learn all about them. All right, let's find out exactly who won the award before I spill the beans, because you know I'm not good at secrets when it comes to that kind of stuff. Here we go. Enjoy Changemaker Award 2025.
By far my favorite station.
You're the best. Oh, yeah.
I love you guys.
And I can tell you, when I first started this organization and I went to Joanne and said to her, this is what I want to do, I want to start this. And she said to me, you need to remember something. You're just a truck driver. They're never going to take you seriously. And I said to her, Joanne, I'm going to prove you wrong. And then I said to her, I said to her I was getting ready to go to my very first Women with Drive. And she said to me, sorry guys that are in the room, make sure you don't wear that everyday bra you wear in the truck. You know, go buy one of those good ones that are going to cost you $100. Because she said that's going to hurt like hell by the end of the day, because you got to look right. So that was our Joanne. I could say that I was there for her last ride. There was over 100 drivers that showed up with their trucks to go down that track in her memory. So as you can tell, this award holds a very special place in the hearts of WTFC. And I also want to let you know that our awards are not exclusively for our membership. Anybody that fits the criteria of these awards is welcome to be nominated. Sure, it's great if you're a member, but, you know, we won't leave you out. It's going to be really hard because normally we don't tell. The winners today do not know they have won. They're in the room. And normally we can talk about them and leave them kind of trying to guess who they are. But it's going to be a little bit harder with this next lady. So I'm just going to let you know. Timmy Nagy. Her journey embodies the power of transformation and unwavering dedication to justice. After surviving 3 months of captivity by an international trafficking ring, she turned her trauma into a catalyst for change. In 2009, she founded Walk With Me, Canada's first victim support and crisis response organization for trafficking survivors, which has provided assistance to over 300 survivors and supported more than 500 trafficking-related investigations. Her leadership was pivotal in Project OPA, the largest human trafficking probe in Canadian history. And her memoir, Out of the Shadows, has raised national awareness about the realities of modern-day slavery. Beyond Canada, Timia's expertise has shaped global anti-human trafficking efforts. She has trained law enforcement agencies, including the RCMP, FBI, Homeland Security, former CIA operatives, alongside social media giants such as Facebook and Airbnb, to identify and prevent exploitation. Her programs have reached hundreds of thousands of people across sectors, ranging from finance and technology, recognized with the King Charles III Coronation Medal, the Governor General's Victorious Service Medal, the Prime Minister's Volunteer Award, the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal, and numerous other honors, and I'm sure I've missed a whole whack of them. She exemplifies the spirit of a true change maker, whose resilience, innovation, and compassion continue to spark lasting social impact. So Timia, if you please come up.
congratulations to Tamia Nagy for winning the 2025 Changemaker Award. She certainly was instrumental. In fact, she was one of the keynote speakers at the event for Bridging the Barriers 2025. Now we had a really good time. Her presentation, she does a whole thing. She if you didn't hear in that, Tamia Nagy is a human trafficking survivor, very instrumental in sharing the message and bringing awareness to the cause. We do a lot with human trafficking as well, so it fits right in with where we are. And her presentation that she did at Bridging the Barriers 2025 was so inspirational. It was really good. And I'm going to play just a little piece of the presentation here. And in the show notes, it was so good that people, not only women and men, but women and men were in tears. And the lineup at her booth afterwards was amazing. I went right over afterwards, bought her book, bought some cream, bought some stuff. Looking forward to reading her full story. But yeah, it was very inspirational. So I'm going to play a little bit of Tamia's talk that she did at Bridging the Barriers 2025. Here we go. All right, enjoy.
And that meant so much to me. I had closure that I was waiting for 10 years. Most importantly, for the first time in my life, I stopped blaming myself. Second, I felt like I'm not alone, which is huge. Because for 10 years, the only person really knew was Mike and an immigration officer, Mario, and my cat, Mario. But they were the only ones who knew what was really happened to me. And I felt alone for 10 years. Very lonely, beyond lonely. Because who could anybody possibly understand? I can't open up, even if I was dating with, how did you get, that's the first thing people ask, how do you come to Canada? I came as a babysitter. Let's just use that version, That's the Bobby's version, or PG 12, yeah. Anyway, so when I realized that, I was angry, I was happy, I was crying, laughing. Awesome, thank you. You're so good. Thank you. Laughing. And that's when I realized that I would like to do something about it. And so that's how I started Walk With Me Canada Victim Services. It was a victim service agency. With the Safe House, that's when Rob Hooper came along. And that's when we started working with victims of human trafficking. And can I just say, we had no idea what we are doing. But apparently sometimes it worked. Sometimes it didn't work. And sometimes it worked, but it was an honor. And so we set up the Safe House. We worked with over now 450 individuals. And we had, that's pictures of the Safe House. We had the organization till 2015 until we just were tired, exhausted. Mainly we were exhausted of not getting enough funding. I mean, I worked for $1 an hour. I mean, if that's not slavery, I don't know what it is. But no one forced me to do it, but eventually I just said I can't do it anymore. So we closed that agency. But then we started training where we started actually training law enforcement. And that's when I realized that awareness is so important. And a short version of this story is that I was presenting to 250 OPP officers. And before I started the training, I would say, how many of you know what human trafficking is? Barely see any hands. I share my story, explain everything, signs, detection. And at the end now, how many of you think you've seen trafficking victim? And they put their hand up. So this officer put up his hand at the very back, and I'm like, oh, sir, would you like to come and share your story? He's like, no. I'm like, okay, you got the gun, got the last word, whatever. So we finished the whole conference, we go to the back, signing books, he comes up and he's bawling his eyes out. I usually love talking to cops, because they don't want to hug you. I love hugs, just saying. But cops don't usually try to hug you with all the gear on them, so it's all good, you're safe, whatever. But he comes up and he's bawling his eyes out. I'm like, oh, do I hug him? What do you do? He's tall, big. But mainly I was just shocked. I don't know what happened to him. So I said, sir, can you please tell me, are you okay? How can I help? He's like, remember when you asked us if we've seen a victim before? I said, yeah. He's like, I saw you. I said, what? He goes, I saw you. My job was sitting in your motel parking lot, we were there to watch for drugs. I saw you coming and going for 3 months. So that particular day, I actually went into more details of how we were abused in the hotel. So he goes, when you told me your story, everything that happened to you happened on my watch. So I had to take a moment because I could only imagine how he felt, and I felt really responsible. So I gave him a hug and I said, look, I didn't know I was a victim of human trafficking, and you didn't know what human trafficking was. There was no training, there's no language, there's nothing like that. So please do not blame yourself because you didn't know. So the didn't, shouldn't, could have, let's leave it in the past. My question is, what would you like to do about it now that you know?
All right, there you go. So that was a great one right there. Check out her book. I'll put a link in the show notes for you to get her stuff. I'd order her book, and you can watch her story online, and you're helping a great cause by doing that. So congratulations to Tamia Nagy for winning the 2025 Changemaker Award. Congratulations to Bridging the Barriers for bringing this award together and getting it all set up. And a big thank you to Joanne McKenzie for being the inspiration and the change maker to get this all started. All great ladies, all doing great things. So there you go. All right, my friends. Hey, thanks very much. Hey, before we go, let me tell you a little bit about Driver Check. You know, they got their Fitness for Duty Summit coming up October 29th. If you are in the human resources space, anything to do with workplace safety, employee, anything like that, then you need to be at this event. It's a virtual event. You don't even have to get dressed this year, although there might be a camera. I might at least put a top on. But you know what? Check them out at you can go to drivercheck.ca to register. It is a virtual event, but you do still have to get a ticket to get in. And I can tell you that I've been part of their virtual and in-person events over the years, and it is one of the best events going. So make sure you check them out, drivercheck.ca. Tell them we sent you. All right, my friends, we'll talk to you later. Be good out there. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Hey, and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Bye for now. See you next time.
This has been another episode of the Lead Pedal Podcast. For more information or to subscribe to the podcast, visit theleadpedalpodcast.com and be sure to follow the podcast on Facebook and Twitter.